Welcome back to Perk Perspective. With me on this episode, I have one of Tamari KF2's regular players, Voodoo Doll,
Hello there.
and we're going to be going over one of his games on the Spawn Cycle ASL on Infected Walls. Now, Voodoo, is there anything you can tell me about this map before we get in?
So Infected Walls is made by LFP. It's actually just a reskin of the map Dust 2. Right now we're actually playing in a hold position that's typically different. Right now we're actually on the right side of T-spawn basically.
Okay, which is an unorthodox hold for Dust 2, but let's see what it looks like. We're also beginning on Wave 2, it seems. Could you care to explain that?
It's just me forgetting to press the record button.
Okay, I mean, fair enough. There's enough action in this video so that we're not really missing much. So, right here you're going for a rather aggressive buy of a centerfire. Could you explain why?
So right now I actually have two lane mates. I got Boris and Blunt. Right now, in my opinion, buying M14 wouldn't be too beneficial because M14 is typically used as a combination for large takedowns and trash. So I decided to go for XPX plus one just for larges.
Okay, dressing your teammates. I can respect it. I suppose that is something you really have to get used to, going from playing pubs to playing CD.
That is correct. Typically, if you're playing Sharpshooter in pubs, you usually get swarmed by trash and you can't really focus on larges. But if you're playing in a more organized setting, typically trash is not an issue if someone's covering you.
Using a 9mm to conserve ammo?
Yeah. For the most part, I don't know where that crawler came from, but for the most part, 9mm is really effective early ways for trash clear.
I mean, yeah, the sharpshooter can one-shot most things with it, and how many shots is it for Gorfiend?
Still one.
Gorfiend?
Oh, Gorfine too.
2 shots for a Gorfiend. That's
If you
absolutely
have medic
insane.
buffs. If it's just regular stuff, three.
Right. So, a question that I have for you while laning is, how do you deal with people getting in your way? Now, I can see that you're still holding your aim exactly where it should be, and that's kind of impressive in and of itself. But, like, how do you deal with this?
So unfortunately, if you're playing a sharpshooter in the backside, you kind of have to just deal with people getting in your way. Only way to really deal with it, there's a few ways you can do this, is to simply strafe out of the way. Obviously, that's not ideal, especially for takedowns, because whoever's in front usually has aggro. So when you're playing sharpshooter in the back, you should be constantly looking for off angles for a takedown.
Ah, I see. Excuse me. I had to blow my nose. So that being said, get over its skill issue.
Pretty much. If people get in
Okay.
your way, just simply step to the side.
Okay. I can understand that. Um, so tell me, what is the most dangerous Zed, in your opinion?
The most dangerous set, in my opinion, is actually Husker Sirens. So reason why I say that is that Sirens, they can block the most important utility that you offer to your team, which is freeze nades. If you throw a freeze and a Siren blocks it, there's a chance that time range FPs will come wipe your spot basically. And for
Right.
Hus, if you're doing a takedown, usually I'm sitting quite still, and if I don't hear it, it's very likely that I get hit and I screw up my takedown, then I get killed.
Right. Okay. That's very understandable. Now, in a few moments. Yeah. It's just above. It's just a little bit from here. You do something that I find very interesting, and I would like to hear your explanation on it. Right here, you're jumping in Z time, you're tracking your target in Z time, and then you jump.
So right there, for example, right now in Z time, typically I run assassin. So what that means is I could be jumping, but I won't be using the damage bonus of stability because assassin's covering me for that as well. Also, because since the XPX does so much damage, I don't need to be crouched for the damage bonus. Like they'll just die straight up just from standing up.
Yeah, I never really knew about that, and I hope I I hope that the people listening can learn from that as well. Sorry, I'm laughing because of the crawlers in front of me, and they're doing this very cursed dance.
They're very creepy crawlers.
Okay, so let's skip ahead. Actually, you make an interesting buy here. You go straight from the Winchester to the 500 Magnum. How come?
So right now, we don't have a medic right now. So I'm going for a hybrid medic loadout. So in this case, I'm going for a 101 and Hemoclobber. And the only way to have trash clear and those options is to use the 500 Magnum for my trash clear. And the 500 Magnum offers quite a bit of utility. So 500 Magnum, even though it has 5 shots, it has massive piercing, can kill mediums very easily, and can kill larges in a pinch. But there's a very, very high skill ceiling for it though. Like if you miss one bullet, it's very punishing.
Yeah, I know very few people who use the Magnums at all.
It's a very underrated gun. Like once you get into the flow of it, it slaps.
I Now this is just my own opinion on the gun, but I don't think it's underrated. I think it's fully appreciated exactly for where it is. People just realize that it's a hard gun.
Underrated on Sharpshooter.
Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah,
I'm
you're the
still
only
hoping for a handgun from Tripwire as a DLC. That's all I want.
True. Actually, I had a question back here. So, you're reloading. You're in Z time, so you have plenty of time to see the situation. So you shoot 4 shots, and then you reload. Why interrupt your reload for 2 quarter pounds?
Reason behind is that I don't know how many exchanges we got, right? So right there, I kind of ended early. Right now, trash isn't an issue. Those quarters are. If those quarters like interrupt the flow, right, we can get pushed back early.
Okay. So is there anyone who helped you learn your perk and its role? Or did you teach yourself?
I actually learned a lot from the community here. So I actually had K-Man. He's kind of like my rivals for Sharpshooter. He kind of just showed me of the way. Like I used to be a slinger main, right? Then I stopped over to Sharpshooter just due to wrist problems because you actually shoot less comparatively. I used to run M14 Foul, and I was doing pretty decent. But every time I went up against K-Man, like there was like no way I can compete with him. So he showed me that M14 plus one's like the way with XPX, and I kind of just used the XPX more because I kind of like got used to it.
Oh, and we can see one of Tamari's server's features. The game pause screen. Very cool.
I think someone had a phone call, and so we had to pause it.
I see. Well, we can skip ahead of here. But is there anything else you wanted to say about K-Man?
He's a good dude. One of
You
the
know
best
what?
players I ever met.
Fair enough. Let's go on to where it resumes. I have a really interesting question here. So, in the same vein that you said you're unsure about, whoops, you're unsure about whether that time will last or not. You stop attacking these threats, and instead you choose to heal. Okay.
So right now, our teammates are like in critical condition right now. I have full armor, and they don't, and there's largest right behind me. So the only way to prevent like a wipe right now, because there won't be enough DPS to cover the entire map, I have to body block and try to save my teammate.
So, you abandoned a scrape kill here.
During that play, usually I have trust in my teammates. I like to play in a way where I like to thin out the crowd instead of shooting what's in front of me.
Yeah. So, you hit the scrape 3 times, and then you abandon it for the trash.
Pretty much. Because if I shoot it 3 times with the XPX, it's basically already dead. So I have trust in my teammates that they'll finish it off.
Okay. Right now you're prioritizing healing. So, out of all of the unbanned weapons on Tamari's servers, what is your least favorite on Sharp?
Least favorite?
Mm-hmm.
All of them are good. Like, I love all of them. If I had to pick, it's probably going to be the Corruptus Carbine, just because the scope is horrendous. The gun itself is fine. It's just the scope, man.
Oh man. Alright. Alright. I feel you. Alright, 10-13. Well, if you have any additions to add. Because I don't have another note for at least 2 more minutes.
We're good for gameplay.
Man, you've accidentally answered so many of my questions. So, for Sharpshooter, what is the core discipline you need to succeed?
The core discipline for Sharpshooter would be proper target priority. You don't get the luxury of shooting in real time like Slinger during Z time. So you gotta make sure your shots actually impact each time. For the most part, Sharpshooters should be prioritizing trash if they're laning with a Slinger. But I technically throw that out the bus because I prioritize XPX typically.
Yeah, it's always it is a little strange to see you shooting largest during that time as much as you do. It's refreshing though.
But I think a common mistake that a lot of sharpshooters do during target prioritization is not shooting mediums. Like, mediums are still a big threat compared to larges.
Um. So you shoot one enemy here and then you stop. How come?
Could you replay that part?
I am.
Oh, right now I'm just saving trash for Boris right now because he is the commando. Every kill he gets during this period, he can extend that slow-mo a bit longer, up to 6 times.
Okay. It always just looked kind of funny where, you know, you just get one shot and then you just reload.
So another nickname for Sharpshooter is like Reload Simulator. At least the way I play it, because I usually use guns that have a very, very long reload. So whenever I get downtime, I'm instantly reloading.
We've got a very interesting takedown we've got in a few moments.
Cool.
Right here. You see the Scrake's chainsaw, you immediately go for him. but you don't react to the two flesh pounds until a few shots. Then you go back. Then you go back to the Scrake. What happened?
So right now, I did not immediately recognize the threat until a bit later. But since the Scrake is so far behind right now, I can split my attention to the flesh pounds very quickly, deal with the threat for a bit, then take out the Scrake.
Excuse me, need water. Yeah, it's very cool to see you swapping between them. It seemed a bit excessive, but and then you realize that you just didn't notice the threat, and it's like, oh, that makes sense. It looked flashy though.
Very flashy.
Um. Oh, we get a super unfortunate. Like, I'm really wondering what your thoughts behind this freeze nade coming up is. Right here.
So right now, I'm basically caught with my pants down. I have half of my bullets reloaded. I throw a freeze to buy some time, but it looks like something stumbled it. Usually a raging QP will rage its siblings. So that's actually not too bad. Actually, since they're stumbling, I can focus the one that's raging, then follow the one that's stumbling afterwards.
I see. Oh, look at this long range kill. Ah, that is just so sick.
Some people might notice that during Z time, I'm shooting a full rate of fire with the XPX, but my sights aren't centered. The reason behind that is I actually have a crosshair on my monitor, and during Z time, you can just look at the crosshair to show where you're going to shoot at exactly.
Hmm.
It
Was
looks
it
like
actually?
Captain Sai died.
Yeah. What time is this? I want to show a cool head trace here. Or tracking. Right
Ooh,
there.
that was very clean.
Then you get pushed. Captain Sai died. So in a situation that gets as muddled and messy and crazy as this, I don't know where that flashbang was going. You see him? He was taunting, and now he's going this way into the wall.
Usually, after a flesh pound kills a player, their AI gets messed up. So this is like an example of what's happening.
So, what do you prioritize in this craziness?
That's a good question. You don't actually have time to think logically. So right now, I would be prioritizing what's close to me. Then if I see any larges that are really easy to take out, I'll go for it. But since I have to look in almost 360 degrees, it's mainly this shoot first, think later kind of deal.
There are no Zeds permitted in the marked area, not even my clones.
What's the most common mistake people make on Sharpshooter?
Most common mistake, in my opinion, is not moving enough. Most of the time, as sharpshooter, precision counts the most. But the problem with not moving is that you make yourself a target to husks, which I still suffer from sometimes. But also, if you're not moving during a takedown and you're moving past trash, You're setting yourself up to be hit, and your aim being messed up, basically.
So, what is your worst perk?
My worst perk
Not counting
would be
survivalist.
would be demolitionist. I just find the perk kind of boring to play because it's kind of like not as engaging compared to like other precision perks.
Right, right.
I wouldn't say I'm bad at it. I know what to do for a CD scenario, but like I haven't put in the time to actually practice it.
Right, that makes sense. So, here's another what do you prioritize moment. Hold on. Because despite this being ASL, you get a double and then you get a triple.
So in this play right here, you can see how one man's taking the stuff on the right, I'm focusing the left. He's putting trust in me, and I'm putting trust in him to finish what we start, basically. Those double free just give us a little bit more padding if one of us fucks up.
Right.
Right now, I'm throwing freezes, even though there's no larges. I'm trying to buy us some time, some breathing room. Even though the trash isn't a big deal, their bodies being frozen act as a body block or a blockade, basically.
I see. So it buys you time from the real threats.
Yes. Unfortunately, that blockade wasn't enough, and it looks like we are getting pushed.
And then here's my personal favorite of the video.
So I believe during this clip, I call for a kite, but the rest of the team overcommits. So I'm like split up. So at this point, whenever it's like everything goes like hell's all loose, you basically have to play for yourself. Like, there's no medic healing you.
Mm-hmm. And then the
So right
Scrake gets
there, I was
used.
Scrake did a double lunge, which was unfortunate.
Yep. Now you're at a CT spawn.
So I'm taking advantage of the Hemoclobber to heal myself a little bit. Missed the parry, unfortunately.
It's a Friday night kid, but shit.
And right here, I get super close to dying, but Hemoclobber saved me a bit.
Yeah, Hemoclobber is strong.
Right now, I'm panicking. There's a raging FP on me. I'm lulling the door to buy as much time as I can so I can heal a bit more. Thankfully, the AI is a little bit glitched up here, so the Fleshpound doesn't chase me. But Chris decided to end the wave because it looks like I wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah, just as a note for the people listening, this was done in a series of games meant to test maps out. With that being said, this is still an ASL game, and ASL still has hands. Obviously.
After that wave end, Ethereal Doom decided to switch to Medic, so I believe I'm switching loadouts now.
Don't let down your guard. They're coming.
You know, I was gonna ask you how you stay calm during a kite like that, but then you mentioned how you were freaking out, and that just kind of like that kind of put like a nail in the coffin about like how good players deal with situations like that, and it's like they don't.
Yeah, everything is just reaction based. Like, you kind of see the same scenario over and over again, and you kind of just react accordingly. But it is very panic inducing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you bought your foul. You have your center fire.
Anyone need a weapon?
So far, so damn good.
Spare one if anyone needs it.
And it is just dealing with that.
Deal to us so far as I'm concerned.
Ah, my dogs are barking, so I'll be muting intermittently.
All good. I'll kind of explain my choice of weapon to foul here. So right now, this lane is so heavy, even with a Mando and a Slinger in my lane. I still needed the foul to help with trash just because it's so heavy. The extra fire rate and the piercing that it offers helps immensely for pushing back the lane.
Cover me, I'm reloading.
25, 40. So what mouse grip style do you use?
I use the palm.
So you place your entire hand upon the mouse.
That's correct.
It's a little uncomfortable for me.
Use claw.
I use fingertip grip, actually.
Ah.
Yeah, it's special. Where was it? Right here, you get a pretty cool kill. There, you move with it. Oof. So
That's pretty
nice.
clean.
Oh, was that the legendary reload?
Not quite. So it is still part of it, but primarily the reason why I dropped that is also because to also reload, but I wanted to be able to switch to my foul quicker because I have no switch animation.
Oh wow, that's higher tick than I even considered. I never considered the fact that you just skipped the animation.
Yeah. It's helps greatly for perks that don't get switch speed. But for sharp it's very minor, but it still helps a bit.
Right.
That foul control is crazy at that range, holy crap.
Yeah, dude. Like the recoil, like I'm sure most people here have used the foul on commando, but using the foul on sharp, it's a completely different beast.
Especially
Like,
with the marksman fire rate, it is very, very hard to control. The secret to long range foul is to actually burst it instead of full auto at long range. So typically at those distances, I'm shooting 2 to 3 bullets. But if you time it correctly, it's kind of like an AK burst where you get like a full auto feel.
right, right. It's a rhythm.
It is a rhythm.
27, 22. Yeah, so why did you decide to take the hit here?
So right there, I'm in a position where I can't hit the FP at all. I'm in front of my teammate, which also affects his aim as well. So in most situations, taking an FP hit with a medic healing you is the right call. What you establish that is you stop the FP from running down your lane, you make the FP super easy to hit, and you get yourself medic buffs as well.
Okay. So here's a funny little interaction between you guys in a moment. Newt looking back at you like, who is messing up these scrakes?
Yeah, I'm stealing kills from his lane right now. I was very hungry for this game.
Oh, in a few moments we get a rare sighting.
Please tell me that's not a chainsaw he's carrying.
Oh shit! I missed the bullet.
We get a rare sighting here. There he is. The
Oh, damn, it's a Grim
Reaper.
Reaper.
Yep. We don't often get to see him.
Yeah, that's usually a fail safe if the Zed isn't in the area that we can kill.
Spare one if anyone needs it. First one who gets killed. You mag, give me a sec. Everyone got ammo? Cover me, I'm reloading.
Where are we at?
Hold on a tick, I'm reloading.
You
Oh,
might have
man.
noticed that I'm bashing my weapon after a reload. The reason behind that is whenever you reload a weapon and you drop it right away, there's a chance that the game doesn't update the actual quantity in your magazine. So what you do to counteract that is to bash it, and it'll forcibly update the weapon for you.
So after every time you overcap, you should definitely bash before dropping your weapon.
When you reload, yes.
Okay. So there's a note I wanted to make here, and I turned the volume up because this requires volume.
This is where the fun begins.
Maybe a little too loud.
There was not much left of that flesh pound. Such a
It's right around here.
Spare one if anyone needs it. First one who gets killed. You mag, give me a sec.
And that's why I hate battle chatter. Like 5 voice lines went off at once.
Got ammo? Cover me, I'm reloading.
Crazy.
Hold on a tick, I'm reloading.
Do you play the battle chatter off?
I don't. I play with it on because information,
Right.
but I fucking hate it.
I know some people who play with zero sound on in this game.
Man. It's
There's so much information that you can just be hearing.
It is time for dying.
I'll do that when I really want to just chill out and listen to music. But
Right.
in a serious game, I play with sound. I don't play with music. Ooh. Okay, that was sick tracking.
Typically, it's not ideal to shoot a husk in the backpack, but I do it anyways because it's flashy. The risk behind it is because you might risk raging flesh pounds if it's beside one.
Right, Mr. Philology in his video, he mentioned that exact same thing.
It's good if you know for sure there's no flesh pounds, but anything be like behind a wall, it's super risky.
Where'd that crawler come from?
There, you know where those creepy crawlers are? There's a spawn there, so it, like loops
Ah.
around to me. I've been dealing with that all game.
The sideways kill? I guess he didn't get the last hit, but still. I don't think I would have even attempted it.
I always go for shots. If you can see it, you can shoot it.
Said like a true purveyor of the get good philosophy.
Pretty much. Right there is actually a really smart play. So, those two FPs on the left right there.
Mhm.
Notice how I shoot the front one and it blocks the back one.
Oh yeah.
You can utilize that to buy yourself a bit more time.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of other people mention it. Um, that's something that takes a lot of wherewithal.
Yeah.
Like you have to see it. You have to have the ability to do it, and then you have the ability to take advantage of it. Like, oof, there's a lot of steps in there.
Once you do it a couple times by accident, you kind of just see the pattern. It's like, hey, I can do this right now.
Well, another V reload.
Yeah. I'm just being prepared. So it looks like I think I hear larges around me.
Oh yeah, we should probably explain what a V reload is.
So a V reload has been named after me. It's known as the Voodoo reload because I'm very infamous about it because I kind of abuse it a lot. But like, it's just free DPS available that you're not using. Like sharpshooters have horrendous reload, so you can just combat this by just dropping your weapon and picking up a new one.
Hmm. Uh, you had something cool that I wanted to point out.
So right there, I drop both my weapons, pick up new ones, and freeze.
Yep.
So the benefits of sharpshooter is that they can kill very, very quickly. So for perspective wise, the foul can kill 2 scrapes before reloading. Same thing with the XPX. For flesh pounds, foul can only kill 1 before reloading, but XPX is still 2. So whenever I freeze, I'm hoping to kill at least 3 larges basically.
Okay. That's a lot of larges in a really short amount of time.
With the extra fire rate that you get in sharpshooter, it's very doable.
So, I wanted to make note of your recoil control here in your spray transfer. Like, look how clean that was.
It just comes with practice. You also may notice as well that I'm ADSing a lot. Most slinger people do not ADS whatsoever, which makes sense because they get recoil reduction for hip firing. The same is in reverse of sharpshooter. If you're using Deadeye, you get less recoil when you zoom in.
Right. So you ADS in order to, yeah, for recoil control. Same for crouching.
And that too. And I feel it. If I forget to switch to Deadeye, I just feel it.
Okay, let's skip over to the next thing.
Killed as a rotten egg.
Do you remember what the first perk you played is?
The first perk that I played during the beta around 2015, I believe. I think the first perk I picked was a support. I think I used a shotgun.
Oh man.
Support's a good class. I like it a lot.
Support is a great class. The weapons are super cool.
Shotguns are just good in general. I'm still waiting for a slug shotgun still.
The support sharpshooter
Perk
crossover.
weapon? Yes, please.
I have a question coming up. So you throw a freeze nade right here. Were you in that much danger of getting overrun, or why did you throw the freeze?
Another common mistake that I see with sharp players is that they don't throw enough freezes. If you have leftover freezes on a hard lane, it means you're not throwing enough. It's either that you're too goated or you're not throwing enough. And I wouldn't say I'm too goated.
Damn. That must mean you really respect this lane, huh?
I respect the lane. If we have to triple stack players in a lane, that means it's heavy.
Right.
Any type of push can cause us to kite, basically.
Shit. Better have a license for that.
Unpopular opinion, I think quarters are the easiest large to take care of. Reason behind is that they have low body health, so if you're not in a position to like headshot them, you can just body shot them to death. But what's nice about quarters is that they kind of spawn in packs, and if they do, if you rage one of them, the rest of them just get stumbled, so it's just free kills.
Yeah, I have considered that before. I just can't really take advantage of it with the way I play.
Right.
So, how long did it take you to get a proper head trace?
What do you mean?
Like, when you discovered what head tracing is, and we should get around to explaining what a head trace is, how long do you think it took you to get it, like, so you could get it in most situations?
Spare one if anyone.
In terms of like the basics, just like a few hours on like a test map to see how it works for each weapon. But learning a head trace doesn't really apply to like actual gameplay. Learning the head trace is very important, of course, but if you don't apply it to the actual scenarios, it's basically useless.
But what I'm also asking, what I was asking is, how long did it take you to get it, like, to apply it in a game?
I think after a few months of like consistent like gameplay, like very like
Can't you see I'm
high difficulty cycles.
crap? Chainsaw massacre time.
Like I was playing like almost 3 games a day basically.
Holy. And it took you that long to get the hang of it?
Not like hang of it, but like perfect my playstyle.
Right, not the hang of it, but like, yeah, to get as good as you are. Holy.
Anyone
That's a lot of commitment.
Man, when you have people consistently playing with you, the game is just worth it.
I actually super agree with that.
if anyone needs it? Weapon anyone?
For number 3,
Need a piece.
I want to highlight this. He gets flame panicked, you headshot him mid panic.
Unfortunately, I don't play with firebugs enough to like really see a pattern. It's just reaction flicking at this point. Like the fire panic is just too random. Same with like the medic debuff panic,
Yeah.
like the poison one. However, if you play with a berserker or firebug, and you like know their play style, you can like take advantage of their stumble. It is super free. If you get a good stumble on a Scrake, I can probably dish out 3 shots to a Scrake and it'll probably just die.
That makes sense to me.
Who needed a piece? Anyone need a spare money? We haven't screwed.
Okay, skipping ahead. 4417. What is your proudest achievement in KF2?
My proudest achievement would be doing Steam Fortress MiG 3 in the dual stair lane with a support. That was with K-Man.
Oh man.
And that lane was by far like the pinnacle of my gameplay. I don't have a recording of it, but it's available on K-Man's channel. And that lane was just absolutely heavy for 2 DPS perks.
I might actually have to check that channel out later.
I think the average freeze was like 7 to 8 larges. It was just that heavy.
Holy.
Then we had Rongol healing us constantly with sedative. It was crazy.
There was your correction.
So
There.
unfortunately, me and Blunt both miss with the XBX, and XBX has like a lot of stumble power. If you miss like 3 times on the body, the Scrake will probably stumble. So what I like to do is just reload, wait for the stumble to be nearly finished, and like just shoot him at the end of the animation.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The end of the animation is when the head is leftmost, anyways. At least that animation.
Right.
Hmm.
New mag, give me a sec. Good eye.
Oh, I choked
So-
a bit there. Looks like.
Alright, switch into your foul.
Yeah, things get very heavy, so I switched to the foul.
Spare one if anyone needs it. That is practice. Good start.
Reloading in the face of a flesh pound. Very ballsy.
Nice one, Cyril.
If I take a hit from a flesh pound, I know I got a bit of time, unless my teammates re-rage it, which is very, very unlikely.
Right. So over here, you make an interesting priority decision. You leave the Scrake and you go for the husks.
So right now, Blunt's engaging with the Scrake right now. Blunt is a pretty skilled gunslinger, so I know he'll finish the Scrake in a reasonable amount of time. Only thing that'll screw him up is getting shot by those husks, basically.
So in that sense, you're supporting him.
Yep.
I see. The spray transfer. Let's see it once
Yeah.
more.
The extra fire rate means you can quickly dispatch trash in front of you.
Yeah, you hit his head while aiming at his chest. I love the foul.
Again, with the jumping, I can jump over the trash and not steal Boris's extensions.
I will make sure the next wave is more challenging.
So, what is your longest marathon of KF2?
Longest marathon KF2, if I remember, was like 7 in the morning to like 10 p.m.
Oh,
So more than
man.
12 hours.
Picking them off. Good start.
That's a lot of KF2.
It is a lot of KF2, but for some reason there was like a queue every time I ended. Like I just wanted to go to sleep or take a nap. I was like, oh, there's another queue. I guess I'll keep playing.
Hmm. So how'd you get introduced to CD anyways?
If you remember about the free-to-play release for Epic Game Store, I decided to pick up KF2 again because my friends were playing it. But they kind of like also just stopped. So I just was playing by myself. Then Bloodman kind of introduced, like I found him on the pub server, right? Then he brought me to like the Tamari servers and everything. So I first started out in like Turbo for a bit. Then I got kind of good. Then eventually I got invited to CD. And at first I didn't like it. But since everyone was playing CD, right? I kind of just grew into it.
Now it's safe to assume that you enjoy CD?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Hmm.
Like without this community, I would be playing something else probably.
Yeah, I could see that. So, what about Sharpshooter appeals to you?
It's the lack of shots fired for the damage it does. Like high damage per shot is what I look for because it's good for my wrists. In most games, I shoot less than the medic, which is kind of crazy.
Uh,
But like my damage is like near the top.
That's pretty funny, actually. So, when is the best time to use a freeze grenade?
The best time to use a freeze grenade is in a scenario where you can't kill the largest in a safe manner. It's basically a get out of the jail card. Ideally, you want to be using your freeze nades to like save teammates from taking too much damage, or to stop time rages.
Nice spray of Gaben. The spray transfers. Actually, that was just burst fire.
Yeah.
Did you land that edge? No, you didn't.
I
Okay.
did not land a headshot. That was too far.
I was gonna say, if you landed the headshot.
Ironically, in Z time, the farther shots are actually harder for Sharpshooter, in my opinion. Instead of like hit scan of weapons, you have to like protect the projectile,
Yeah.
basically.
I don't think that's I don't think that's ironic. I think that makes sense. Because then you have like, yeah, you have the bullet trajectory to worry about instead of it just being hit scan.
It's also slower though.
Mm. So, how do you prioritize the weapons that you use? Like, why do you use the SPX over the M14 more often than not?
It's mainly my playstyle. I would consider it throwing. I'm just so proficient with the XPX that I kind of compensate the lack of shooting. Because if I use the M14, I trigger Z time more often, which is more beneficial for the team. Reason why XPX is used more is because it's just that good. Like low shots to kill. I don't know why the XPX is flying like that, but low shots to kill with fast fire rate is easy mode basically. It's definitely a big crutch in my opinion, but I abuse it anyways.
It's too good to not use in that case, right?
Pretty much like every single sharpshooter should be using an XPX in my opinion, unless you're running like medic loadout.
In which case it's M14 Hemogoblin, I believe.
For the most part, yes. You can substitute the M14 with an XPX if you're like me, but other players will do M14 Hemo.
Right.
If you run the XPX, you can put a 101 as well, so it's a bit more healing. That right there is actually a good movement play. So if you reverse the clip a bit right there, a bit more. So right there, I throw a freeze. I've run past the trash, but I keep moving forward. So if you keep moving forward, you are less likely to get grabbed, but also hit at the same time. Because if you get hit, your screen shakes and you'll probably miss your shots.
Right.
Here you go, pal. Too kind. Can't very much.
Hmm. Oh no, the creepy crawlers.
That Scrake you killed had a limp. The other Zeds called him Limp.
So we have one wave left. Yeah, I've pretty much like gone over everything I want to go over. All that stuff is to really appreciate the gameplay for the moment.
Sounds good.
Like just the way you deal with these heavy lanes is something that I will never not be in awe of.
It just comes with time. I feel like anyone who has a sharpshooter main can like learn what I do over time. One good example would be Ethereal Doom. He's grown so much over the year. Like he's basically as good as me now.
Yeah, I actually, for those listening, spoilers. I actually plan on interviewing him at some point.
Sweet.
And I look forward to his interview as well. I look forward to all of your interviews. Like you guys teach me so much about what's going on with this game. I view this game through the lens of a single perk, you know.
Right.
So seeing your point of view, seeing the way you think, the way you operate, it's also cool to me, and I want to continue to do this.
That's
And
awesome.
you guys make this worth all of my effort.
If you truly want to like master this game, you gotta learn how each perk operates.
Mm-hmm. And since I'm not good enough to play all of them at a proficient level, I'll just have you guys do it for me.
Exactly. Lucky Zed time here.
No kidding.
It would have been impossible to kill that Scrake in real time.
The Dragons plays.
It's a fun gun, don't get me wrong. It's just bad.
It's just, I honestly think it's a side grade to the Dragon's Breath.
No, Dragon's Breath was like 100% better.
It's a side grade. Like, I would say the Dragon's Breath operates better in real time. But in Z time,
Right.
the Dragon's Blaze is just a monster.
You're not wrong. Right there, I actually protected Blunt right there, because if that FP hit him again, he would have died.
That would have been it. Oh shit. Oh, another lucky Z time.
Right there, I should have been saving trash. That's my fault. It was like a panic situation to clear trash.
You triggered Z time again.
It must have been a heavy lane, Newt's lane, because I'm mainly running XPX for larges. Looks like a triple in the back right now.
Yeah. And I've just noticed that Ethereal is running the incision. Of course he is.
In my opinion, Railgun's better than the Incision on Medic.
That's because it is.
It is. And it looks like a bit of spice right now. I pick up an empty XPX, unfortunately, here.
Oh shit.
Good follow-up.
Managed to secure it. Switching between auto fire and single fire on the foul.
That's just a bad habit. It should be on auto fire 100% of the time.
I agree. Trusting your teammates by going only after the scrape.
Yep. My playstyle revolves around Blunt taking the most damage for me.
That takes a while. Like, whenever I try to leave things for teammates, like, it always goes bad in some way or fashion. And it's like, should I have even made that play? Like, I feel like I should have, but then the results tell me differently.
Yeah, once you get teammates you can trust, you can make really nice plays.
me, I'm reloading.
And that's the end of the video. Oh, yeah, you ended it a little earlier. So, with that being said, is there anything left that you would like to add, Voodoo?
No, I think we covered everything.
Okay. Well, with that being said, it has been my pleasure to have you on. And as far as everyone else goes, I will see you in the next video. Until next time. Bye.
Thanks for having me.